Hello, Wheaton sports fans. This is Talkin Wheaton Sports with Lou Ragoose. If you missed our last episode, my conversation with Peter Natz, focusing on the 1986 regional boys basketball upset victory over top-rated Hawley, go ahead and click the link on the top of the screen. Now, one of the subjects I've been most looking forward to covering on this show is Jerry Schultz's time as a professional baseball player in the New York Yankees minor leagues. Jerry is one of the best all-around athletes who's ever come out of Wheaton, and to my knowledge, the only one with professional experience. Thanks for joining us, Jerry.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you for calling.
Yeah. And so you're still living in Wheaton, correct? How's life in Wheaton right now?
Well, population is shrinking, but we're doing okay.
All right.
Otherwise, everything else is good. Nice sunshiny morning, and wind is blowing like usual. So that's what it is out here in the country.
All right. Well, I want to cover a few different topics here. I want to focus on your career as a minor league baseball player in the New York Yankees farm system. But first, let's start out. How did you get into sports growing up in Wheaton?
Well, that's about all there was to do. Everybody shot baskets and played baseball on the vacant lots, and there were no lake fishing places. You know, back in those days, not everybody had a boat, etc. So all the kids would get together and play baseball all day long.
And was the athletic field kind of in the same spot it is now back then?
Yeah, it is. But we used to play. Well, up on Fifth Avenue, there were a couple vacant lots. There were no houses up there then. And then we also used to play east of the courthouse. There was a vacant lot there. And that's where we played most of the time as kids. But the baseball diamond, and that was at the same place. Yeah.
And so when you got into high school, which sport did you enjoy the most?
Well, in high school in a small town, you play everything. So I enjoyed basketball, baseball, football, but probably baseball, the most.
Okay. And who coached the Wheaton team back then?
George Sawyer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was a coach for about 50 years, I think. So, yeah, or 40 or something. Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to do an interview with him at some point and get the story from the other side, too.
There you go. He's around. I don't see him too often, but he's around town.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're getting toward the end of your Wheaton career and you're going to college, you chose University of North Dakota.
Yep. UND.
And did you played basketball and baseball there?
I did. I had a basketball scholarship that paid all the expenses, and baseball was lucky they got me for free.
That's nice. And you have some big name teammates on the basketball team. Can you tell us about that?
Well, there's Phil Jackson, of course, is the most known one, ex-coach of the Chicago Bulls and the Lakers. And the rest of the guys, we had Paul Peterson, who started out at the University of Minnesota, and then he was from Minot, him and his brother, and they transferred back to UND. And we had Dave Lintz up there. He played football, basketball, and track, so he was quite an athlete. And so we had most of the guys. There was 3-4 from North Dakota, and 3 or 4 from Iowa, and a mixture of guys. Yeah, all good talent.
And so what was it like playing with Phil Jackson?
Oh, he was, back in those days, the post people played with their back to the basket, and he just set up in the post and we'd throw him in the ball and he'd shoot a left-hand hook shot. And I don't think he ever shot a shot more than 6-7 feet, from farther than that. And good guy, good teammate, good leader. Good guy. Yep.
Was he into that Zen type stuff?
He wasn't into that at that particular time that I know of. No, we didn't blow smoke in the film room, and no.
Well, what was it like to see him become so successful with the Bulls and the Lakers?
He was a people person, kind of a psychologist. He'd figure out and let guys do what they were good at, and not try to change anything. And he just figured out to get the most out of the talent that he had and let them do their thing, I think, is how I probably, describe it.
All right. So then as your college career is wrapping up, how did the opportunity arise to get into the minor leagues?
Well, they have a baseball draft every June, and I was drafted in, I don't know what play. It was about the 90th round in the Yankee organization. I don't know how many rounds they had. I was about the 90th player. And they had drafted 75 of them, 75 of us in the summer of 67. And 4 years later, there were five of those guys left, me and four other guys. So there's a huge turnover there in draftees. Lots of them get sent home right away, or after a year, they decide to quit or whatever. So, but it was a draft situation just like they have now.
How do you get notified that you're drafted?
They call you.
Yeah?
They call you up, yeah. There was a guy, I can't think of his name right now. He was a scout from Iowa someplace. His name slips my mind. So, but yeah, they call you. Then they assign you to a team, and I got assigned to a rookie team in Johnson City, Tennessee. So we started in, I suppose, the middle of June or the end of June playing, and played about 100 games, and then wait till the next season.
And were you married yet at that time?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So you guys packed up and moved out to Tennessee?
Yeah, moved to Tennessee, found an apartment, and played every night. No days off. Sometimes you play on Sunday afternoon, but I forget how many games exactly, but I know it was over 100. And it was all rookies, guys that were drafted that year, and they were from, lots of them from California and Georgia, and some kids from Puerto Rico, et cetera, and just a lot of different good guys. Yeah. Yeah.
What were some of the unique things you remember from that first season?
Unique things? Well, that's a good question.
How was it different to play every single night compared to in college?
It's fun because there's a game every day, no practice. Just go out there at 4:00 and for an evening game, or 5:00, whenever it was, take batting practice and infield, et cetera, and play the game and do the same thing the next night. There was never any no practice because there wasn't time for practice. And the road trips were all by bus. I forget, there was probably 8 or 9 teams in the league at that time. And you'd go on a road trip for 3-4 days and then come back and play 3, 4, 5 days at home, and et cetera. It's just like the big leagues, only at a bus schedule. Yeah.
How far would you travel on those road trips?
Oh, probably, let's see, I'd say probably 100 miles was probably the most. They're in the Carolinas and West Virginia and Virginia. They're all close, Mm-hmm. We were just out there last fall to our last basketball season to Virginia Tech, and I recognized all the towns. I played in all of them up and down the East Coast there. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And was your family back in Wheaton able to go to any games back then, or did they track?
Well, they could, but it was too far. They didn't.
Yeah,
they didn't come out to the East Coast. No. It's just my wife and I. Yeah.
And
there were a few other guys that had graduated from college. Most of them were out of high school, actually. Just drafted seniors. There was probably 3 of us that had graduated from college, probably, and that were playing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And did it feel like a job, or did it feel like you were playing for a living?
Well, it was a job because they were paying us, but it didn't feel like a job. It was playing games. It's fun.
Yeah.
Every game, every night, ball game, nothing better than that.
It's kind of living the dream, huh?
Yeah. Small kid from Wheaton, Minnesota. They're from all over, and most of them are all from the Sunshine States, so where they play 12 months out of the year. North Dakota, in the spring sometimes you didn't play a game because there was a blizzard.
Right.
So, yeah. So, but it was fun.
And so that season, it was the rookie league. Then how many years did you play total?
4.
Okay. So
the next year, then I went down to spring training in Fort Lauderdale. And then I got signed to the Class A team, which was in Kinston, North Carolina. And that was basically in the same area where, a little ways from Johnson City, Tennessee. But it was up and down the, whatever you want to call it there, East Coast. And there was more teams in that league. There was probably 10 or 12. So Pirates, Yankees, Braves, every major league team pretty much had a team in the in the Carolina League. That was a good league at that time.
Could you notice a difference in competition?
Oh, yeah. See, there's guys playing in that league then that probably played 3 or 4 seasons. They just couldn't make it out of that league. But they were playing there, and yeah.
And then
bigger, stronger, more experience.
And did you and your wife rent an apartment, or what was the living situation like?
Yeah, you always had a hunt for a place to live. It was kind of a pain in the butt. But we always found something, and we had, I suppose, 15 guys, I suppose, on the team. And everybody had a fine, there was, in the second year, there were quite a few guys that were married. And you always had a hunt for an apartment. That was kind of a problem, but things worked out. Yeah.
And you were still within the Yankees organization?
Always with the Yankee organization, yeah.
And at that time, they were still a powerhouse, right?
Oh, yeah. You're younger. You probably don't remember the guys, but they had Tom Tresh, Bobby Richardson, Joe Pepitone, Elston Howard, Hector Lopez, Bobby Mercer. The Yankees were a powerhouse at that time. And you also have to remember there's only 8 teams in each league then at that time.
Sure.
They had so it was tougher to advance because there's only 8 teams, 16 total teams.
Yeah.
And if your best chances to advancing would be a pitcher and a catcher, infielders, unless they get hurt, they play for 10, 12 years, And I was an infielder, so yeah. But yeah, that's a lot different. Mama was making $150,000 when he retired.
Yeah.
And he had just retired when I started. So the bat boy makes that now.
Yeah, right. So that second year you were in Class A, then what happened the third year?
Well, then I went back to spring training in Florida again, down to Fort Lauderdale. Then I was assigned to a Double-A team up in Manchester, New Hampshire. And that's more competition. That's tougher in the Double-A, obviously. And played there in last 2 years, 69 and 70.
Okay.
And just repeated itself. Went to spring training again, got assigned to the same team. And there was one level above me, Triple-A, and then the big leagues. But Double-A was there was lesser teams. I think 8 teams in the league: Reading, Pennsylvania; York, Pennsylvania; Elmira, New York. I can't think of them all.
In what position did you play, and kind of what was your specialty in the game?
Well, most of the time I played third base, but I would play second base when they needed somebody there. Yeah. The teams usually had one excess infielder. I tell you, back then, nobody got injured like these Twinkies do now. They're always out with a muscle strain or an elbow strain or something. We played every day. I played thousands of games in high school, college, and in the pros, and never was injured.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, did you stretch out better, or what was the secret?
We didn't, we just went out and warmed up before the game, run a few times out in the outfield and played catch and started the game. We didn't spend all the time in the training room getting doctored up, and, there wasn't really such a thing. So, and very few injuries. I don't even remember any. I'm sure there was some, but nothing like now. Yeah.
And during the span, what did you do during the off season?
Well, the first off season, let's see, what did I do? I worked for Yankee Construction because I was out of college, so I'd come and work there in the wintertime. And then one first year I went back to college, took some more classes, and then I think I worked a couple times, and then go back to spring training in March and start the season in April, and then find a job in September and do the same thing over again.
Yeah. So jobs back around here, or did you stay out east?
No, I'm back around here. Yeah. Grand Forks one time, one off season, and a couple times here in Wheaton, and then whatever. Yeah.
And did you have kids yet at that point?
In 68, our daughter, Karen, our oldest, was born in 68. Yeah. So she was there for 69 and 70.
As a little baby?
And part of 68. Yeah. She was born in July of 68 in North Carolina. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so then you had one remaining season. How did that one go?
Well, I went back to Double-A again and played the same teams. And there was four of us left, like I said, in the organization that started in '67, and then at the end of the '70 season, then they traded me to Pittsburgh, and I didn't want to go there, so then I decided I played enough ball.
Yeah, and
I
so
Pittsburgh organization wasn't as classy as the Yankees.
right. And where would that have meant moving to?
I think it would have meant Waterbury, Connecticut.
Okay.
Where the Pittsburgh Double-A team was, and I think their Triple-A that would have had a chance to make that was in Columbus, Ohio. I think, or I can't remember for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking over 50 years ago.
Oh yeah, not holding anything against you if you don't remember.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. Yeah. And
what was the conversation like when you decided to hang it up?
Oh, let's see. I just decided, I was 25 years old. I was out of college. And the conversation was, I think I better get a job.
Yeah.
I'm just running around the country playing ball, finding a part-time job in the wintertime and heading back down to Florida again. And we'd play like 35 games down in Florida too in the spring. All the complexes were close together down there, all the teams. And then you play 140 games during the season. So I played a lot of ball, and in college I'd played umpteen games. So, but I just decided, hey, I'm 25, I'm out of college, it's time to move on.
Right. And
I did get a letter from the Yankees and said that they didn't consider me a prospect anymore, but they considered me an organizational player, which means you can hang on if you want to. And if you play minor league ball for a long time, then maybe they'll want you to manage a team or something.
Sure.
I wasn't interested in that.
Okay. Or a scout or something like that?
Yeah, they always got organization guys that move up. Most of them are, ex-players. And they get traded a few times. And, I'd see the same guys sometimes on two different teams in 2 different years, So, yeah.
It was nice that they offered that, though.
Oh, yeah. It was a nice letter. Said, they're honest. I knew I wasn't a prospect anymore. I wasn't going to beat out Bobby Richardson at second base. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to hang on riding the bus all the time.
Right.
And, we used to give the bus driver hell. There goes a kid on a motorcycle or a bicycle past us. Speed up a little bit, That wasn't exactly the story, but it was like that.
So what was your major in college?
Business administration.
Okay. Yeah. So then did you slide pretty easily into insurance at that point?
Well, I wanted to be in sales because of some kind. And an opening came in Wheaton here at Farm Bureau Insurance, and I started in December of '70 and been here ever since. And
so when you came back home, did everybody like hearing the stories of on the road with the team?
And they'd followed me, and ask about what was going on, and they knew what was going on, and you get back in those days, there was the Sporting News newspaper came out weekly, I think, and that had all the minor leagues in it. And I don't think they don't publish it anymore, I don't think. But so they kind of keep track of that way, Mm-hmm. But as far as summertime, I was always playing out east. There were no local people that ever came to a game.
Yeah.
They didn't travel, and they just accidentally weren't out there. But they wouldn't go out there on purpose. Yeah. So you never run into anybody you knew or you seen out there.
When you came back to Wheaton, did you play summer baseball?
I never played again.
Really?
I think when I played in I don't know. I'd been doing it for 4 years in the minors, 4 years in college. 2 years prior to that in summer leagues, one in South Dakota and one up in Minnesota. There was a league that I played for, a college league. So I've been playing steady for, 8-10 years. So I just, thought, well, I don't need to do this anymore. I played a little softball, mm-hmm. But other than that, no. And I started taking up golf and playing that.
Right. And then at what point did you get into coaching with basketball and stuff like that?
Well, when the kids started to get involved, and I played for some of the best people with some of the best people in the country and the best coaches. And so I just wanted to share what I knew about it. And, mm-hmm. It's a lot different high school level to, everybody's a good player in high school, but everybody isn't a good player in college.
Right.
There's a complete difference. And so I just wanted to share that. And we had some good years in girls basketball there. I actually did coach the boys a couple of years too.
Yep.
So, yeah. Yeah.
What were a couple of your favorite memories from coaching?
Oh, the girls in the state tournament where we lost the championship game on a last second shot on a rebound. That was the highlight. And then that would have been the biggest highlight, I guess. High school, we lost to Sauk Center. When everybody was the same class back in those days, we lost to Sauk Center in a regional game and to go to the state tournament, so we didn't quite make it there, which would have been a big deal back in those days. Now they got, 3, 4, 5 classes. It's more split up to the size of your communities. So, yeah.
And I know you have some grandkids now that are very good athletes that you're following. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the one we followed the most, that just graduated finally, is Drew. Our granddaughter played 5 years at the University of Utah, the Pac-12. And then she moved on and finished, got the COVID extra year at South Dakota State. So we've been following Drew for a long time. And I'm pretty lucky. I don't know of anybody that has had a grandchild or a child win 4 state championships in a row in high school and play in 2 NCAA tournaments. Anybody from our locale, anyway.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So now the next one up is I got a junior gal that's playing out at St. Thomas More. Riley, she's not a Drew, but she's a good player.
Yeah.
And then we got Wyatt. He's a sophomore, 6'2". He's going to be a dandy. So I'm working on him to keep giving him tips all the time.
All right.
So then pretty soon the grandkids will all be out. Yeah.
Well, Jerry, I know that all of us from Wheaton are proud of everything you've accomplished, and we thank you for everything that you've given back to us when it comes to sports as well.
Well, we appreciate the call and share information, and just give us a call anytime.
All right. Well, have a good one, and I promised I'd get you on your way in time for morning coffee. So here we go.
They don't show it up until 9:30. right. Within 5 minutes of 9:30. So.
All right. Well, it's nice to talk to you.
Yeah, take care.
Thank you very much. Bye. This episode of Talkin' Wheaton Sports is brought to you by Love's CBD Hemp Oil, the strongest CBD oil for the lowest price. Visit loveshempoil.com to order now. See you next time.